Right. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. We are thrilled that you are with us here this glorious, glorious Thursday. It is Thursday. Not a thirsty Thursday, but a Thursday nonetheless. Well, I guess I am a little bit thirsty. I have a little Java juice. One of my favorite cups. PremierDriver1.com, PremierDriver1.com. Wow, I mean, it's just a lot. Primary was the Florida primary was yesterday, and it has its own. Like they say, it's on like Donkey Kong. It is on. Charlie Crist has had his basket of deplorables moment already. Day one. AOC has come out and said, yes, they did violate some congressional financial disclosure rules. Well, interesting coming out with that now, basically when she's safe, her seat is safe. We just hope that the people in her district can remember that, yeah, this happened. The president has come out and said that he is going to forgive using, and this is what these people do, you trying to use the Department of Education rule on debt and eliminate a good portion of student debt for people. So we're going to talk about that. Pretty much everybody is blasting this plan. We'll talk about this because I've got some personal connections with this that I'm feeling So we'll have to wait till we get to the story to share some stuff with you. The New York Times basically is showing their true colors by attacking Republicans of color in a racist rant against the American dream. So we'll go through that. And Paul Pelosi, what did if you think there isn't a two-tiered justice system in America, wait till you hear this story. All right, we're going to take a little break. We're back with more of the program right after these messages. All right, again, welcome back. We appreciate you being here. My goodness gracious, I say this all the time. It never stops. That's the best part about doing this. The best part about this gig here. It never freaking stops. It's always going. There's always something happening. Always. And always something to mention. No, that makes me angry. So we'll just go do. We'll go and do this one. You remember former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio? Yeah, Bill de Blasio, who, basically said they needed 1 million ventilators during COVID. Basically said that that there wasn't enough being done to help New Yorkers. You remember that? Yeah. Well, he's a former mayor because he lost his gig, not because he was a bad mayor. It's because, But anyway, so he's ousted the former mayor of New York City. Bill de Blasio has a new job title these days. He is headed back to school to join the faculty at Harvard University's Institute of Politics as a teaching fellow. Because this is the kind of person that you want teaching the young skulls full of mush about politics and about government service. The Democrat will take part in a, quote, variety of discussions, events, and programming. And it should be programming, that is the correct word, and will teach classes on leadership and public service at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. He says, I am happy to join the IOP to help ensure the nation's next generation of leaders to find ways to serve in politics and public service and to build government that serves working people, de Blasio said in a statement. He tweeted this: I'm very optimistic about the generation of leaders and activists coming up. It will be a privilege to offer lessons I've learned through decades of public service. My key message to them: we can make bold, progressive change. I know because I've lived it. Yes, I could. You could take a perfectly beautiful city and run that some bitch right into the ground. I did it. So it can be done. So your socialist, communist dreams can happen, but only happen here in America. Mayor Bill de Blasio's decades of experience in local government, federal agencies, national campaigns, and running the largest city in the country provided an invaluable insight to all students and at the Harvard community. The Harvard Institute of Politics interim director, City D. Warren says. De Blasio left New York City after being mayor for 7 years with broken promises. He was the city's first progressive leader who was repeatedly met with failures during his term. Homelessness, the COVID-19 pandemic, the lack of, lawlessness were among the top issues in New York. Complained about, when he was in office. New York was a hot mess. These progressive programs and ideologies don't work. They've been tried in the smallest cities and the largest cities. They don't work. I mean, especially don't work when you have a basket case like Bill de Blasio in charge. So I guess it's a good thing that you're sending your kid to Harvard. What I'm happy about is that your kid has great enough to go to Harvard. I am. Fantastic. Congratulations. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Back to New York. Interesting now that she's admitting this. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat from New York, openly admitted that she resisted congressional financial disclosure rules. Through her spokeswoman, Communications Director Lauren Hitt said that AOC is taking her time filing her disclosure that is required by federal law because she still has another 20 days to file before she runs the risk of being fined. And that's fine. That is fine. The committee provides a 30-day grace period before the fines are levied. The Congresswoman plans to file before that period expires, Hitt told the Washington Examiner. Although almost all members of the House have already reported their 2021 financial disclosures as required by federal law, the woke squad's member status of her finances has yet to be available to the public, which was due to the House Ethics Committee 11 days ago. The report notes that even if AOC fails to file during the 30-day grace period, the punishment is still fairly minor, with only being fined $200. This is not the first time she's attempted to avoid filing her finances in 2020. AOC missed the deadline to file her 2019 finances by a month. Not only is she admitted to the scofflaw, she's a repeat offender. One must wonder whether she also files her income tax past the deadlines. Don't worry about it, honey. I do too. Attorney for the National Legal and Policy, Senator Paul Kramer told the Washington Examiner, just like AOC did in 2020 when she filed her 2019 disclosure report 30 days late, after a 90-day extension, 120 days. 4 months. She's at it again, blowing off the deadline and filing her 2021 filing that was due on August 13th. KMR continued to say, now, here's the deal. If you get away with it, the attorney speculated that AOC could be delaying her filing because of ethical concerns regarding her appearance at the 2021 Met Gala, where she infamously wore that red dress that said, tax the rich. I think, maybe we have this two-tiered system where she just doesn't care. She knows nothing bad's going to happen, and she has to doctor that thing up however they can to make sure that it looks okay. And with the system that we live in now, with this two-tiered justice, she doesn't care. She's learned that it doesn't matter. She turned the last one in 4 months late, and she is still a congresswoman. What, $200 fine? What? Okay. Florida primary was yesterday. As predicted, the Democrat elected Charlie Crist, former Republican, former independent, former Department of Education, Attorney General, Governor of Florida, as their candidate. And in his first press conference, winning Tuesday's Democrat primary in the Florida governor's race, Representative Charlie Crist, the former Republican turned independent turned Democrat, made it clear whose vote he did not want in November's general election. In all my training, when we're talking about running for office, how important it is to ask for the vote. Just like if you're selling something, you guys who are in commission sales know that at some point in the presentation, you have to ask for the money. You have to ask for the sale. You have to ask, is this going to be on your Radio Shack credit card? Just going to be MasterCard or Visa? You have to ask for the money, right? Can we sign you up for the program now? That's how we normally do it. What we don't normally do is tell people who we don't want. Well, how are you doing? You know what? I don't want you to buy this product. You can leave now. I don't want people like you buying this product. So this is what this guy does. When asked about his message for Floridians who support the current GOP governor, Ron DeSantis, and how he'd seek to win their vote, Crist didn't hesitate to disavow their support for his campaign. Instead of saying something like, I'd hope that you would be open-minded and Florida-driven and blah, 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 blah. He basically said, F you. Those who support the governor should stay with him and vote for him. I don't want your vote, Crist bellowed. If you have hate in your heart, keep it there. He added in something of Hillary Clinton's basket of deplorables comment. Remember? This is worse. If you have hate in your heart. So if I support my governor and his policies that have worked, that have provided Florida #1 employment in the country, coming out of COVID, businesses that didn't fail coming out of COVID, schools open coming out of COVID, all that stuff. When things were bleak around the country, Florida was moving forward. Florida was back at work. Florida was back at school. And just because I support that, I have hate in my heart. Just because I don't want teachers talking to my 8-year-old about their sexuality, I have hate in my heart. Hey, Charlie Crist, F you. I don't want your vote either. I don't. Nothing hollers, not in it to win it, like Crist kicking off his general election campaign by smearing a majority of the state voters as hateful while portraying himself as a good guy without hate in his heart. Crist proceeded to explain that he wants, quote, the vote of the people of Florida who care about our state, good Democrats, good Republicans, good independents. That is, Crist believes the only good people of his state are those who agree with his Democrat agenda. Unified with this ticket, he said, of the few remaining Floridians he hasn't accused of being hateful or bad. So if I disagree with you, I'm hateful and bad. You know what? Let's anyone give Crist the benefit of the doubt or chalk up his comments to an off-the-cuff gaffe as a result of a lack of preparedness for such a question. Crist made similar comments earlier on yesterday. Crist's campaign seemingly will be focused on attacking Ron DeSantis and smearing Florida voters rather than offering an alternative vision for the future of the Sunshine State. Well, there's a reason for that, because he doesn't have one. Because frankly, here in Florida, things are going too well. Things are going too well. That there isn't any, the only vision is keep it going, baby. Let's keep it going. So the only thing he can do is smear or try to smear Ron DeSantis. But what we've seen is that whenever people go after DeSantis, always has a way to turn it back on top of their head. And no person is easier to do that to than Charlie Crist, the chameleon. no person is easier to turn this kind of talk on top of his head than Charlie Crist. All right, we'll be back in a little bit with more of the program. We're going to finish up, so we'll be back right after these messages. All righty, again, welcome to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We are thrilled that you are here today on the Morning Report. For those of you who are watching the video, I hope you like the background. I know it's a lot going on, and I know it sort of matches, but it does match my shirt, and my beard sticks out beautifully in the light. I kind of like it. I don't know. It may be overdone, Zoom. It may be completely overdone, but I certainly like it. I hope you like it too. I'd like to welcome the folks that are new to the channel, the people who answered the call yesterday and subscribed. We have 464 subscribers, and I'm wondering if it's even possible to get to 1,000. We need 1,000 to talk about being able to monetize the channel in any way, shape, or form. I don't think I can do that. I think that my AdSense account being gotten rid of years ago has prevented me from that. But it seems like I may be able to sign on at this point because it's been a number of years with another email address and see if we can get a if we can crank it up again. I don't know. 50 bucks every 6 months. That would be wonderful. So let's see. Let's see what we can do. There's just no harm in trying. But we need 1,000. But we need two things. We need at least 1,000 subscribers, and we need 4,000 hours of viewed video. 4,000 hours. That's, I don't know, what's that? 400 hours per subscriber or something like that, right? Or 40 hours per subscriber, which is okay. I think we can do it. 4 hours per subscriber. Sorry, 4 hours at least. So of course, the more you have, the better it is. So we hope that you will subscribe, that you will tell your friends, you will tell your neighbors. If you have not subscribed, if you're listening to the podcast and you've not watched it, please go to YouTube and subscribe. And it's at Fightback Media Group. So that will be super duper. Let's just, excuse my nose is itching. Let's just see what we can do. Let's just see what we can do. What the heck? Not gonna cost us a nickel. So let's go ahead and try it. How about that? All right. The president is ready to buy some votes for the midterms with the student loan debt forgiveness. They promised this forever, and we're going to see if they can do it. President Joe Biden plans to reallocate student loan from college-educated Americans who owe them to working class citizens. The official plan was released on Monday by the White House press office. Republicans, of course, aren't livid over the move and blasting it as a scam, with the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell leading the way. President Biden's student loan socialism is a slap in the face to every family who sacrificed to save for college, every graduate who paid their debt, and every American who chose a certain career path or volunteered to serve in our armed forces in order to avoid taking on debt. This policy is astonishingly unfair. McConnell released in a response to the move on Wednesday. The median American with student loans already has significant higher income than the median American overall. Experts who study similar past proposals found that the overwhelming benefit of student loan socialism flows to higher earning Americans. Democrats specifically wrote this policy to make sure that people earning six figures would benefit. You remember how the tax cuts only benefited the rich? Remember all that narrative? Now, So you have college educated people who already make more than people who aren't college educated, asking the people who aren't college educated to help them pay for their college degree. There's something, and I understand there's something fundamentally terrible about that. But fundamentally, it's like this policy doesn't benefit the average person. This benefits the people who already make six figures plus, who already have the advantage of a college degree. This benefits them. It doesn't benefit Joe Blow, working in the tire department at Walmart. Got out of high school, took that job on full time because that's what they could do. That's what they wanted to do. And now, some of his hard-earned work, hard-earned money in the tire department at Walmart or at Costco or at Sam's Club is now being sent to those kids who graduated in the honor court in his high school. It was all he could do to graduate at all. And now those that are graduated in the honor court that got to go to the 4-year school, they're benefiting off of his hard work. There's something patently unfair about it. I mean, on the surface, it's patently unfair. Don't you think? Don't you think? President Biden's inflation is crushing working families, and his answer is to give away even more government money to elites with higher salaries. Democrats are literally using working Americans' money to try to buy themselves some enthusiasm for their political base. McConnell continued. This is cynical and outrageous, but perfectly in the character of Democrats. A number of other Republican senators concur. The president can spin it however he wants with Pell window dressing, but at the end of the day, his debt forgiveness scheme forces blue collar workers to subsidize white collar college graduates instead of demanding accountability from an underperforming higher education sector that pushes so many young people into massive debt. The administration's unilateral plan baptizes a broken system. This deeply regressive action, which fails to even acknowledge that most debt is held by folks with graduate degrees, masters, and PhDs, will do nothing to jumpstart the reform of higher education desperately needs, Republican Ben Sassy said. Now, incredible. Tom Cotton tweeted, Biden is encouraging students to take out as much debt as they want. They'll never have to pay it back. What a terrible message to send to young Americans. Transferring rich lawyers' debt to poor Americans should put to rest the narrative that Scranton Joe cares about the working class. Now, I was talking about this the other day, and I wasn't talking about it to you. I was talking about it in my teaching studio. There's a wall clock that the battery has died. And one of my students was saying, your clock is broken. And I'm like, nope, it's right twice a day. Speaking of something is broken but is right at least twice a day is Mitt Romney. He tweets, sad to see what is being done to bribe the voters. Biden's student loan forgiveness plan may win Democrats some votes, but it fuels inflation, foots taxpayers with other people's financial obligations, is unfair to those who paid their own way, and creates irresponsible expectations. Yeah. Now, if you have student debt, what no one's talking about is why in the hell is college so expensive? Let's go back in time just a little bit, just a lot of it. 40 years. 40 years. Longer than that, 43 years. I took a class my first year in college. It's freshman English. In Florida, it's ENC 1101. I think they still use the same number. So ENC 1101. I took it at a community college. We were, and 43 years ago, we were on quarter hours. Some of y'all won't remember quarter hours. We were on quarter hours. And for quarter hours, that it was a 3-hour class, like it is now, even in semesters, with a 3-hour class. And the cost for that class was $11 per quarter hour. $11. Even then, that was cheap. Even then, that class was cheap. It was $11. I was blessed. I had a scholarship I didn't have to pay for, but it was $11. The book that we used was E.B. Strunk's. What is it? Oh my God, I had forgotten the name of that book. Something of Style. Elements of Style. E.B. Strunk. And the book was like $6. Class was $33. The book was like $4.95. Why is that class over $1,000 now? Not inflation. Inflation hasn't done that to it. Why is that class over $1,000 now in places? This is what needs to be addressed. Student loans are a symptom of a larger problem. But you can't win votes, not right away, trying to fix what the root cause is. Your tooth hurts because your gums are rotten. I could make your tooth not hurt, but your gums are still rotten, and eventually you're going to lose your jaw if I don't attack the root cause of the problem. So whatever they do, $10,000 per person, in some cases $20,000 per person, you're going to cause a lot of pain and agony to people who don't deserve it, and still not attack the root cause. Make it more difficult for them to send their children to college to have that advantage. That's what you're doing. And if you have student debt, I get it. Anything to get that monkey off your back. And some of us have had student debt for years. The mountain just kept, with interest and penalties, the mountain just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And some of us will benefit from this policy who don't agree with it. Won't we? Some of us will benefit from this policy who don't agree with it. Joe Biden, you can't buy my vote. Sorry, sir. You cannot buy my vote. In any case, let's get to the next thing. Let's get a notice that, oh, get a paycheck. That's great. I don't even know why people are surprised. The left always comes out, always shows its true colors. All we have to do is wait. They can't help themselves. So it's not uncommon for Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media to engage in racist attacks, including and especially when it comes to minorities who dare to vote Republican. One recent example comes from Jasmine Ulloa, Ulloa, who wrote on Sunday, writing for the New York Times, went on the attack against Republicans of color for having distorted the phrase, the American dream. Here's the tweet. A touchstone of political and social discourse, the nearly 100-year-old phrase, the American dream, is being repurposed, critics say, distorted by Republicans of color. Really? The article is titled, How a Storied Phrase Became a Partisan Battleground. is part of the outlet's midterm 2020 daily briefing. Included before the text of the video, slightly over 4 minutes, redefining the American dream. Ulloa wastes no time as she begins her piece by going after Juan Ciscomani, a Republican and son of a Mexican immigrant who is running in Arizona's 6th congressional district and has made the American dream a focal point of his campaign. She later goes on to reference Virginia Attorney General Jason Myers and Representative Maya Flores from Texas and Ulysses Vega, the Republican challenger of Representative Abigail Spanberger, who's a Republican in Virginia. We can't have a piece from a mainstream media outlet ranting against Republicans without mentioning their boogeyman, Orange Man Bad. Here's what she says. Now a new crop of Republican candidates and elected officials are using the phrase in a different way, invoking the same promise, but arguing in speeches, ads, and mailings that the American dream is dying or in danger of threatened by what they see as rampant crime, unchecked illegal immigration, burdensome government regulations, and liberal social policies. Yeah. Many of these Republicans are people of color, including immigrants and children of immigrants for whom the phrase first popularized in 1931 has deep resonance. To politicians of old, the American dream was a supremely optimistic rhetorical device, albeit one of that often obscure the economic and racial barriers that made achieving it impossible for many. To the Republican candidates embracing today, the phrase has taken on an ominous and more pessimistic tone, echoing the party's leader, former President Donald Trump, who said in 2015 that the American dream is dead, in the same way that many Trump supporters have tried to turn the American flag into an emblem of the right. So too have the Republicans sought to claim the phrase as their own, repurposing it as a spinoff of the Make America Great slogan. I won't read the rest of that. She ends her piece by referencing a Democratic candidate, Gabe Vasquez, who makes the same exact point that demonized Republican candidates and office holders do. Vasquez is running against Representative Yvette Harrell, a Republican who represents New York to Mexico's 2nd congressional district. Ulloa's last paragraph of her rather lengthy piece quotes Vasquez as saying that the American dream is becoming an hallucination. So here's the deal. If I believe in what I thought the American dream was, and the ability of the average American to attain it, if I think that is under attack because I disagree with you, I'm the problem? Did we just not have this conversation about Charlie Crist? I'm the problem? I don't agree with you that I have hate in my heart? I don't agree with you because I don't agree with murdering children. I don't agree with people having to pay other people's debts that they take on. I have hate in my heart. I don't agree with you. So when I say I think that the American dream, or how I perceive that, is under attack, it's cynical, and it's because of Donald Trump. You're insane, woman. You're absolutely insane. I want to say something about this. We're going to hit this story and then we're going to get out of here. Remember Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's millionaire husband, was back in a Napa County court Tuesday for another hearing in his DUI case that has so far generated more questions than answers. He pleaded not guilty to his legal representative the last time. That was back on August 3rd. Mr. Pelosi had decided, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and plead guilty last Tuesday to avoid a trial for the multi-million-dollar husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and escaping with a wrist slap sentence that will amount to about 8 hours of work in a work program. Here's the plea deal. Mr. Pelosi entered, including 5 days in jail, 5, not losing your license, not going to jail, no, 5 days in jail. But he received credit for 2 days as time served, another 2 for good conduct, leaving 1 day remaining. You think 1 day in jail? Oh, no. To be 1 day remaining to be served that will be satisfied by the 8 hours of work in a work program. 8 hours a day. Going at 9, leave at 5, wash his hands of the whole deal. In addition, reports note that Pelosi must complete a 3-month course on the dangers of drinking and driving, have an ignition interlock device installed in his car for 1 year, and pay, get this fine? You ready? Talking about Paul Pelosi. Big bucks, right? A $150 fine, and will be on probation for 3 years. So for the next 3 years, he uses a driver. So Paul Pelosi, who could have killed somebody when he chose to get behind the wheel of his car while intoxicated beyond the legal limit, will barely serve 1 workday, 1, as punishment, and have to take a class to teach the 82-year-old millionaire a lesson he should have already known. He couldn't have taken an Uber or hired a driver. It's a slap on the wrist. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't worry about it. Slap. It wasn't even a slap on the wrist. Says, don't do that anymore. You feel that. You feel this. Earlier this summer, of course, court records reported that Pelosi was visibly intoxicated when authorities arrived on the scene of a crash between Pelosi's Porsche and the Jeep he'd collided with. Pelosi's attempt to use a get-out-of-jail-free card when he handed the Highway Patrol officers his membership card for a charity benefiting families of California Highway Patrol, along with his identification, subsequently failed a field sobriety test. Hey, look, I got you, right? It didn't matter. Because sometimes in America, justice is not blind. Justice is peeking underneath that blindfold on it. Oh, there's Paul. Never mind. A county charging form explained that Pelosi was facing a count related to alcohol and drugs in his system, but the county officials subsequently claimed that the reference to the drug in Pelosi's body was merely boilerplate charging language used by the prosecutors, and their case against Pelosi was based on alcohol. Authorities still have not released the dash or body cam video of the accident scene or interactions with Paul Pelosi. If that was Willie Lawson would owe thousands of dollars that Willie Lawson ain't got. Willie Lawson would have spent some time in jail already. Willie Lawson would have lost his license, which means I'd have lost my jobs. Willie Lawson would be in serious trouble. Willie Lawson's picture would have, arrest picture would have been in the damn newspaper. But Willie Lawson is not Paul Pelosi. Boy, that's true. But I ain't got to wake up next to that every morning. So I guess that is good, right? So in any case, until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.